It is Wednesday morning. It's a very weird weather day out there. It's unusually hot. It's very windy. We do have a chance of some rain today, but I'm looking at the radar, Alex, and there's nothing out there right now. So I don't know when or where it's going to happen, but there's a chance. So.
We shall wait and see.
Yep. What you got for me here?
Well, we always learn about these things via TikTok, where people spend so many hours of wasted time. Mm-hmm. There's a TikTok video swirling around, apparently, of an airplane passenger reclining his seat so far back that the person behind him obviously is clearly uncomfortable.
They shouldn't allow those chairs. I don't mean when I say they shouldn't allow, I mean they shouldn't make those chairs to recline that far. So.
Okay, this brings up the question of airplane etiquette. So one person put it, people who recline in their seats in economy are the bane of my existence. But another person said, why is the passenger at fault for using a feature the airline created?
Well, you know, that's a good question, but if you are a decent human being, you should understand just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Okay, but if the person behind is uncomfortable, shouldn't he or she recline?
Yeah, but would that really help, though? I mean...
I don't know. I'm just playing the devil's advocate here.
I get what you're saying.
If the feature is there to recline your seat, why are people ticked that people are using the feature to recline the seat?
Yeah, the feature shouldn't be there. This it is 90% on the airline, but the other guy should realize that he's invading the person behind him's space. So
okay. Well, that's just one piece of this puzzle here. There was a recent poll that asked the biggest pet peeves in airline etiquette.
People who take their shoes off.
What?
People who take their shoes off on the airplane should be thrown out the door at 30,000 feet.
You've been on airplanes where people take their shoes off?
Almost every time.
Oh my gosh, ew! Okay, well that wasn't on this list.
Nothing
Number one
like
was
recirculated foot air.
Reclining the seat. People who don't use earbuds, if you're not using earbuds, I don't even know how you're hearing what is on your whatever, your phone or whatever. People eating messy or smelly food, I can get that.
Yeah, these are all good ones.
You smell it, that's not going away. Those were the top three. Yeah.
You've never been on a flight where somebody kicked off their old business loafers and after a long day of trudging up and down the streets, huh? Yeah.
No.
It's awful. It's as bad as you can imagine it is.
I will stare that person down if that ever happens because, dear God, just be a decent human being. All right, so this is like a three-part story. Part 3, the Federal Aviation Airline has been flooded with complaints. This has just happened this week over shrinking airline seats, okay? But the problem is, while these seats have shrunk, Americans have not shrunk with them. So many U.S. carriers have reduced seat widths about 1.5 inches. They're now about 17 inches wide, and the length that your feet get has dropped sometimes 4 inches in some airlines.
They're almost like giving us reasons not to fly anymore. So
yeah, but the weird thing is the FAA currently has no rules for seat dimensions. So they were asking the public input on safety in case you have to evacuate, but they're like, hey, we don't even fit in the seats. Can we fit in the seats and then we'll talk about emergencies?
Yeah, I'll tell you, this is not something I like to admit, but as we all know, I was once much heftier than I am now. At one time, I'm 5'10" and I was 320 pounds. In case you're wondering, that's overweight.
Okay.
And when I got on, I had to take a flight somewhere, and they had to give me the seatbelt extender to be able to. And I was like, you know what? You need to get control. That seriously was the catalyst that made me start. It's like, this is embarrassing.
Yikes. Yeah. So a lot of issues we're seeing on the airlines. I don't fly that frequently. I fly for work, but that's really about it. But I know people who fly very frequently.
I used to fly a lot, and this is going into old man mode here. Before 9/11, flying was much more fun. It was, you showed up 10 minutes before your flight and you didn't have to get frisked and patted down and searched, and you just jumped on the plane and I enjoyed it much better. I've only flown a handful of times in the last 20 years. If it's within 15 hours, I'll drive. I seriously will.
That is the most Midwestern thing I think I've ever heard. Boy, oh boy, Gene's not worried about reclining seats or seatbelt extenders.
No, if I recline my seat and disturb somebody in the back seat, I'm worried about who's sitting in my back seat right now.
Fair enough.
All right. Keep your shoes on the airplane, folks.